What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream broadcast of For the People podcast. Of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. Today, we have to talk about something that has become all the more relevant as these days have gone by since Israel and the United States have started their war, in which they refuse to call a war, with Iran. There has been some disturbing news coming out of random allied countries. By allies, I mean allies of the United States. Attacks that don't make any sense. Attacks that are being blamed on Iran. However, they don't follow the military strategic pattern of Iranian attacks. Then on top of all of that, Iran is also saying it's not us. Like if we want to attack y'all, we'll tell you. Because once again, Iran is the same country. We have to remember this within the complete context of not just this conflict, but past altercations with the United States and Iran. Anytime Iran has responded up until the death of Ayatollah Khamenei, they always give advance warning, and they never deny an attack if they indeed did launch the strike. This is facts, right? We have to remember that, but we also have to remember this. I've been pretty steadfast in my belief that the United States is lying about the number of military casualties that they've experienced. Because who wants to look like they're dying or their soldiers are dying for Israel's war? And this is, in fact, Israel's war. Who wants to look like their soldiers are dying based on lies being told by the government? And not only lies from our government, but lies from a government that is historically a president and a Republican Party at that, even still. They're both historically unpopular, both of them. Now imagine all of that, once again, and soldiers are dying. So you can't justify at this moment sending troops on the ground to go into Iran. You cannot justify an operation like that. And you damn sure, under the current circumstances, can't justify launching a ground operation in Iran with U.S. troops when Israel, and this is indeed their war, Israel hasn't even committed to putting troops on the ground and fighting face-to-face, mano a mano, cara a cara, in Iran. But every time the U.S. doesn't move in the way that Israel wants them to regarding Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, the list goes on, what generally tends to follow? Some type of attack. And if you look at what we've seen since the beginning of this conflict, it looks like Israel has already been conducting false flag attacks in other nations. So I'm just following the pattern and I'm seeing where we're going to end up. I'm just looking at the finish line based off of what we know. For example, one of the false flags that happened went under the radar until recently. When all the missiles started flying and those bases, the U.S. military bases were getting hit in the Gulf, there was actually a base that got hit, a base that got hit in a country that got hit and nobody was paying attention to, and that was Cyprus. So Healy visits Cyprus after criticism of UK response to drone attacks. Defense Secretary John Healy has met with his counterpart in Cyprus after criticism over the UK's response to drone attacks on the RAF base on the island. Healy met Vasilis Palman, Haley met Vasilis Palmas to discuss how the UK was reinforcing air defenses to support our shared security, the PM spokesman said. Cyprus's High Commissioner to the UK, Dr. Kyriakos Kouros, told the BBC people had been disappointed with the information shared after the base was hit on Sunday night. Downing Street rejected suggestions the government failed to have enough military assets in the Middle East after the base was hit. The attacks on Cyprus came days after the U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran on Saturday and retaliatory strikes by Iran. But Sir Keir Starmer told reporters on Thursday protective measures at the airbase have always been in place. He actually said, "We pre-deployed further assets to Cyprus in January and February for that purpose, and we're bolstering that." Isn't that an interesting little tidbit? Why were you deploying forces in January and February? It's almost like you knew what was coming in advance, huh? So that's interesting. But this attack happened in Cyprus at a UK base, and some people have made the argument now that that is part of the reason why the UK has justified entering this war. Iran was blamed for the attack, but Iran has denied attacking Cyprus. They have no interest in attacking that little island. But clearly the UK was goaded, right? Because we know that the attack on that the Iranian ship from a U.S. submarine, that attack was launched, that submarine rather, launched out of the UK to attack that Iranian ship illegally in international waters after they were done with the training exercise. So there have been direct consequences for the blame being laid at Iran's feet in that situation. I don't know if you guys saw the news, but Azerbaijan had a random attack out of literally nowhere. Well, let me check out. Hold on. So there was an attack in the Azerbaijan airport. They said 9 people roughly were dead. They said it was a drone. They're saying it was an Iranian drone. Now, if you understand where Azerbaijan is situated, basically it's like a neighbor to Iran. They don't always see eye to eye. However, Iran does have a policy of not attacking its neighbors. Also, let's be completely and totally honest with one another. Azerbaijan is not a threat. They're not a threat, guys. They're not a threat to Iran. They would never, because Iran is Iran and Azerbaijan is like this comparatively. And this was the assistant defense minister's response after hearing about this attack.
Deputy Foreign Minister, we just received literally a few minutes ago the information suggesting that Nakhchivan airport of Azerbaijan was targeted in an Iranian attack. This development reached us just before we went on air. And what is the reality there? What is your information regarding what happened in Nakhchivan region of Azerbaijan?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are not targeting our neighboring countries, you know. For this incident, I have heard about it from you. I should investigate it, what the source of information and the nature of the information is, and I can comment later on.
Thank you very much, Deputy Foreign Minister.
By the way, this is not the policy of this Islamic Republic actually to attack or to target the neighboring countries unless the military bases of our adversaries, namely the Zionist regimes, and the United States of America are active there and are used to attack innocent people in the Islamic Republic of Iran, because we have announced it from the beginning that if there is any military bases in the region and they are used to attack Iran and the forces of the Americans are there, we will target them. So that was the policy that we have announced.
Thank you.
So you see the defense minister, or excuse me, the assistant defense minister of Iran is like, bro, I just heard about this shit right now. We ain't have nothing to do with that. Once again, has Iran ever in history denied an attack that they were actually responsible for? Because if they can claim that they successfully attacked an adversary that they believe is allied with the US and is helping facilitate this war against Iran, why wouldn't you take that victory? He's like, well, we didn't do it. I can't lie about something we did or we didn't do because we didn't do it. Okay, now remember the conversation we just had the other day about Saudi Arabia's Aramco or Aramco. Aramco was attacked. Big explosion. Largest oil facility in the world. The most influential oil facility in the world. Like worldwide destabilization level of importance. Everyone assumed, because the original claim was that Saudi Arabia was attacked by Iran, and everyone at the beginning believed it because Iran and Saudi Arabia have beef. It had just been, the information had just been released that even though Saudi Arabia was critical of the US and Israel attacking Iran in public, on the phone in private, they were singing a different tune. So at the time, because in that exact moment, Iran did not deny the attack, it didn't take long, I think it was just a couple of hours, until Iran came out and was like, bro, that wasn't us. What are you talking about? And then they got their intelligence community on it, and they found out and are claiming it was an Israeli false flag. And then the next day, Tucker Carlson reports what? Saudi Arabia and Qatar both arrested Mossad agents that were trying to bomb their countries. Saudi Arabia hasn't denied it. Qatar came out and said, oh, we don't have any information on this. I don't believe anything that comes out of Qatar's mouth when it comes to defending Israel, because they always would defend Israel. I mean, once again, Israel bombed Hamas while negotiations were being held in Qatar. Qatar didn't even attempt to intercept the missiles. Y'all remember that? Yeah, that's Qatar is Israel's bitch. So, if logic follows, who is probably going to be next? Because it isn't a secret that Netanyahu and everybody in his administration, hell, and even the rest of the world knows, this war is wildly unpopular amongst Americans. It isn't. And when Americans don't support a war, it is very, very difficult to get the president to put boots on the ground. Netanyahu probably studied enough history to realize at the beginning of World War I, nobody in the US wanted to go to war. Lusitania was attacked. You know, it was a lie. We know it's false flag, but there were Americans that allegedly died during the attack of Lusitania. That's what those people were. That's what Americans were told at the time. And then all of a sudden, support for the United States to enter World War I surged. Okay. What happened in World War II? Once again, wildly unpopular. Wildly unpopular. They're like, it just has nothing to do with us. What do they used to call it? That's Europe's war. Ain't got nothing to do with us, cuz. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, and support for World War II goes up to 90%. Do y'all think that we would have went in? Okay, so think about it. The war with Iraq from the beginning was wildly unpopular. From the beginning, from the jump. Because they were like, WMDs. Okay, what's that got to do with, well, what about terrorists? No. You said WMDs. They don't got those. Y'all weren't worried about terrorists yesterday. So why is it? Well, because today y'all discovered they didn't really have WMDs, so we have to come up with the different excuses. But the initial invasion of Afghanistan was supported for the most part. Why? Because Afghanistan was perceivably connected to the attacks on 9/11. Okay. So history has shown us when the U.S. is attacked, generally speaking, support for putting troops on the ground and entering a war goes up. In some cases, skyrockets. Israel's betting on that because they know what they're up against as far as popularity is concerned. Like, yeah, they don't like us, so that damn sure ain't gonna be a good enough reason. Like us saying like it's important, but they don't want to hear nothing I gotta say anymore. The only thing that's gonna help is if we commit a false flag. And do you know how I know that's their thinking? Because I know a lot of people have already forgotten because it seems like it's so far in the rearview mirror, but I have not forgotten. I actually did a hotspot video about it. Do y'all remember June 25th, 2025, during the last 12-day war, Israel tried to commit a false flag in the U.S. Everybody forgets. It got memory hold. Israel tried to commit a false flag in the U.S. Do you know who stopped them from doing so? It was Iran. Iran's intelligence got wind that Israel was trying to commit a false flag, fabricate evidence, and then blame Iran, obviously to get support for the U.S. entering the war. And Iran tipped off the U.S. And it was, the attempt was foiled. Iran confirmed it. Israel never denied attempting to commit the false flag. And the U.S. never denied receiving the info and the intelligence from Iran to foil the plot. They already tried it, is what I'm telling you. They already tried it, and there was absolutely 0 consequences for their actions, despite the fact that everybody knew that they were guilty. I have been hearing from a lot of people that they feel like the Texas thing was a false flag. Was a shooting out there. I mean, the Bondi Beach situation in Australia was clearly a false flag. Y'all see how quickly that disappeared out of the news? Because people were starting to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 all together. Like, damn, bro, there's a lot of coincidences. Like, y'all did kind of threaten the Australian Prime Minister. Australia had been reporting that Messiah had been active in the country. Support for the Zionist regime in the country was waning, not only amongst the people, but even amongst the leadership. And then Netanyahu was like, something's going to happen. And then something happened. So like false flagging, y'all, we already know the Lincoln. Everybody know, not the Lincoln. Oh, no, the Liberty, excuse me. The Liberty. Yeah, we remember. That hotel in Israel, we remember. Even 9/11, we remember. Some people might think that I'm like, oh no, like you're fear mongering, you're being. No, I'm not. Okay, once again, people, how long I was screaming at the top of my lungs, like, yo, this Venezuela situation is getting out of control. I think Trump is actually going to pull the trigger on this operation. I know they can't win an all-out war with Venezuela, but Trump seems to not be making decisions based off of the probability of whether or not they can win or lose. He's not calculating that. I don't know where his calculations are coming from, actually, but logic is not the primary driver behind his decision-making at the moment. And what happened? People said I was being sensational. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm looking at what we're dealing with right now. I said that, Israel's going to attack again. I did once again, Y'all better go back and look at the hotspot videos because I literally did a hotspot video warning this exact thing was going to happen. And people said I was being sensationalist again. I'm like, no, I'm not. Look at what's happening. It's the same exact thing we just saw, but worse. And Epstein files will drop. So whatever Israel tells them to do, they're going to do. And whatever Israel tells them to ignore, they're going to ignore. Okay. I haven't said that this ain't going to be no 3, 4, 5, 6, or 12-day war. Because if they attack Iran again, Iran's about to bust their ass. And they're going to, and I said that Israel will do whatever they can to get U.S. troops on the ground. Okay. Where are we at right now? So are we really about to ignore history once again? And the reason I feel like it's important to sound the alarm on this is because we need to understand when this happens, we cannot fall for the propaganda that will come in the immediate hours and days to follow. We can't do it again. We can't allow ourselves to be deceived once again. Because remember, what were they saying about even before Iran tried to launch a false flag last year? They were already setting up the stage, saying that border security in Mexico would be an issue because they believed sleeper cells had been activated by Iran to attack the U.S. and that they could get through to the Mexican border. That's what they were saying. It's kind of like weird how everybody comes to the Mexican border now, but that's what they were saying. Now, you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, to this day, actually, there has never been an attack from Iran on American soil. And until recently, Iran had never killed an American. Because even after they attacked Soleimani, even after that, they warned Americans before they attacked the bases where they believed that the assassination of Soleimani was conducted. But they warned everybody so that there wouldn't be any casualties. So the idea that all of a sudden Iran would commit a terrorist attack when they don't do sneak attacks. Like Iran has never been known for sneak attacks. Since when? They don't have to sneak around shit. Them boys is grown men, okay? When they have a problem, look, I mean, like I said yesterday, during my live stream with Kyle, well, I've said pretty much every day, they don't have to lie. They're like, yeah, man, so just let everybody know, we're hitting y'all with weapons from the back of our stock. We have more that we know y'all can't stop. We have shit y'all ain't never seen before. And you know what we're telling you? Because even though we're telling you, you still won't be able to stop it. That is the type of country we're dealing with. Think about it. Why would I commit a terrorist attack? Why would I attack Saudi Arabia and pretend like I didn't? Why would I attack the majority of the Gulf states that are allies with the U.S. and have a military bases active, but then like lie about other attacks that happened in the same place? Like, yeah, man, we did that, but we didn't do this. Why would I lie about that? Like if we attacked you once, yeah, we probably won't attack you again. That's like, why would I lie about one and tell the truth about the? It doesn't make any sense. Why would I lie about attacking this military base here for the U.S., but then, or excuse me, why would I say I attacked this military base and then lie about attacking this military? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Also, we have to remember, Iran has only attacked military assets in other countries. So all of a sudden they're going to attack residential areas, because if there is a false flag that happens, that's what it'll be. It'll be a residential area. It'll be a mall, movie theater, park, something like that. College campus, even. Shit, it could be New York. That's what I'm betting on. Because it has to be a place where you can get enough attention, enough casualties. that everybody will see it and will be outraged by it. And that's what they're betting on. History, people. History shows us this is happening. This is going to happen. It would be a surprise if it didn't happen. That is where I'm at with it. And once again, if y'all know what they call me, what's my nickname? Niko House. Because unfortunately, when it comes to stuff like this, I am way too good at predicting it. Well, because I don't have a problem looking at what reality is and acknowledging it. I just told y'all, bro, they're attacking Azerbaijan, guys. What? For why? Who, like, that was a dead giveaway right there. I'm like, they just attacked Azerbaijan. Why the hell would they even think that Iran would be interested in attacking them out of nowhere? But if you understand the weird little tricky relationship Iran and Azerbaijan have, like, they're amicable. They don't really like each other. And because Azerbaijan like borders Iran, what the US and Israel like to do is use Azerbaijan to move assets in and out the region. In fact, during the 12-day war, it was reported that the Mossad agents were able to get into Iran by way of trucks that were supposedly supply trucks that had used the border of Azerbaijan in Iran to smuggle them in there. So like Israel has used Azerbaijan before. Now, if you want to establish legitimate base and then have Azerbaijan openly come out and support you, right? Publicly announce that they will be providing assistance, allowing you to use their bases, use their military facilities, allow you to build bases there, allow you to launch troops from there. This would be the way to do it, wouldn't it? This would be the way to do it. The only people that would be benefited from attacking Azerbaijan or from Iran attacking Azerbaijan would be Israel. That's it. Iran doesn't get benefited by attacking Azerbaijan. They don't feel threatened by them. They don't like each other, but they're like, well, we don't really care about y'all that much. To keep it a band. You saw the lackadaisical nature that the assistant defense manager was giving that interview. Like, bro, I didn't know about that shit until right now. But okay, that wasn't us. But just so everybody knows, if you do have a base and you are helping the US or Israel, we will bust your ass. But at the same time, that wasn't us. Iran doesn't have anything to gain from attacking Saudi Arabian oil fields. Not really. Prices of everything goes up at that point. And then you risk allied powers getting involved, allied superpowers, countries allied with the US, I mean. You risk them getting involved for fear, out of fear that their economies could suffer because of OPEC being weakened. Like that, so like it wouldn't make any sense for them to do that. They just wouldn't. They haven't attacked anything outside of military assets. And just before I go, it's important to remember that I think we've all kind of accepted the US is lying about their numbers, right? About the number of casualties they've experienced. At the very bare minimum, it's a slow leak. They're not really telling the truth, and they're going to release names slowly over time. And it's likely that the reason that is because they don't want to come out and say they have more losses than Israel has, because everybody knows this is Israel's war, right? Israel said they had a total of 9 people that have been killed. That's BS, but whatever. That's what Netanyahu said. So what does the US say? We've only had 6. Okay. If you are Trump in this administration, and you're trying to, and also if you're BB and looking for a reason, a motivation for Trump to use to get involved with troops on the ground. All of a sudden, if there are troops on the ground, now you can start rolling out the real number of casualties, more or less, without there being a magnifying glass on every casualty that the U.S. suffers because of attacks that are happening in other countries, bases in other countries. Now, 800, 900, 1,000 doesn't sound as crazy when you're conducting a ground operation against Iranians. And let's be real, the IDF, they're not really prepared. They don't know how to fight real war. They only know how to fight people who that aren't armed to defend themselves. Like, that's the type of wars they're used to fighting. And it wouldn't be outrageous, this is their thinking, right? It wouldn't be outrageous for the U.S. to experience more casualties in a ground fight against Iran than the IDF, because there are more U.S. soldiers than there are active IDF soldiers. That's what the logic would be. So now it wouldn't seem as crazy. But right now, you cannot come out and be like, yeah, there have been 800 U.S. soldiers that are casualties and like 150 Israelis. Like people would lose their minds. So like, you have to create a reason to get those troops on the ground before everybody figures it out, so that these numbers mathematically can start mathing right. They have every motivation to do this. And they, like I just said, they just tried it last June during the last 12-day war with Iran. And Iran foiled the plot. So you tell me why I shouldn't believe that that Israel will commit a false flag on U.S. soil again. You tell me why I shouldn't believe it. The same Israel that's willing to kill its own people to achieve their objective. You think they're going to think twice about killing us? Okay. But I would, however, like to know what you think about this theory and how you feel U.S. citizens would react to a false flag being committed on U.S. soil. Do you think that they would fall for it like U.S. citizens have fallen for it in the past? And that would be used as an excuse to send troops on the ground? Or have U.S. citizens woken up, finally, for the most part? And they won't put up with it. They'll see it for what it is out the gate and not fall for it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in to this live stream segment of For the People Podcast. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. If you want to support the show, you can become a premium YouTube subscriber. You can also subscribe or become a Patreon subscriber. You can also donate through Cash App. All those links are in the description. And of course, one of the best ways you can help support is to like, share, and comment. Help us get boosted in the algorithms. Follow me on X at Real Niko House. That's Niko with a K. Follow me on Instagram at Real Niko House and on Upscrolled at Real Niko House. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.